Welcome to Between State Lines.
So, Stephanie had a big week. She got into a car accident, and from what I've heard, this is not the first car accident. Quote, "This guy was the nicest guy you've ever hit,"
Yeah.
which I was
I
like, "I'm sorry, there's more to that story."
Well, first of all, it was like if I've ever been involved in a meet cute, this is it. Like I don't know if this guy's going to come back into my life, but he like it was dumb first of all cuz I he was in front of me and we were at a light and then the cars like kind of moved forward, so I kind of moved forward and then instead of hitting my brake, I hit the gas. So just right into the back of his big old truck. And luckily, like, it's a big old truck. It didn't hardly phase that thing, but I'm like panic mode, all frazzled. And he's like, "This is a hell of a way to meet somebody, but hi." And I was like, "Hi." So super, super sweet. And he's he's been wanting a new bumper, is what he told me. And I was like, "I think I got you taken care of." But he's like, "Yeah, it kind of sucks for me, but like this is your car." And I'm like, "I know. I know. I feel the gravity of the situation right now." But yeah, definitely not my first rodeo. About 10 years ago in a week, I got into my worst car accident. I used to drive exclusively Volvos because I really like to hit things or like fall off the road. Like, yeah, that's happened to me quite a few times. That one, I hit the only deer I've ever seen on I-5. Like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, somewhere really early after bartending. I had like a 45-minute drive home and hit the only deer I have ever seen. And somehow my Volvo kept going until I parked it at my apartment. And then it just died, never to return again. Don't even know what happened to the deer. But 10 years ago, I was driving to my first bartending job, and I turned left in front of a truck, like it was like a farming truck with like the big old back on it. And I think they were going way too fast for a school zone, but my uncle was like, "Don't argue. You're lucky to be alive." And so I was like, "Fine." So I took the whole blame on that one. I was like, "Yeah, I just turned left in front of cars. I just, was really having a bad day that day. I'm not sure." But luckily I was driving a Volvo. They had no idea how a person fit into the vehicle. And then the guy who's like owned the company that hit me, he went into the bar that I was working at and was like complaining like they didn't know if I was alive or anything. So they were like worried about that. But then they also like were out of work for this long. So I would say yes, this guy was comparatively the nicest guy I've ever hit.
You have a very eclectic history of accidents, a wide
No,
variety of types and kinds, and
somebody on TikTok posed the question, if you could have unlimited anything that's not money or food, what would you have? And I was like, probably houses or cars, especially with how I go through them. And I didn't knock on wood, apparently. And so a day later, when the accident happened, they commented back on it, and I was like, this really didn't age well. I was in a car accident today.
how bad shape is your car in?
um, it's not great. It drives. It drives. But it needs a facelift for sure. Uh, we'll find out hopefully this next week. The insurance approves it, then I hope they tell me where to go, and then I have to pay my deductible. But hopefully they can get it fixed. I just don't want them to total it out and then have to go car shopping because it's my nightmare. I am the worst person to take car shopping, and having to take myself is like that. It's just unfathomable. Nobody wants to take me with them
I
to go to a dealership.
I
I definitely don't want to go to a dealership.
No, I absolutely hate car shopping, but there is a guy on TikTok. and I will send him if you need a car. If it comes to that, I'll send you his username. He actually does for a living. He like does car deals, but he gives like all these tips and tricks on his channel of like things to look for, things that they'll say to you, and how to like get around paying for certain things, like how to negotiate, and it's like insane. I wish I'd found him when I bought my car, but yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I
Hopefully, it doesn't
can't
come to
wait.
that, but if it does,
I just have like this lying radar that goes off when I go to dealerships, and it's always been like my kid's dad that was buying the car, and I was just there. And both times that I went with him, I like shut down. Like they said something, and I was like, "Nope, this is a bad deal. It's time to go." And he's like, "We're too far into this." I'm like, "No, we're not. We haven't put any money down. This is not a final sale. Let's go. Let's go." And then when that car, something happens to it, I'm like, "See, told you." Like that was a bad deal. Unfortunately, the second one is the car that I just wrecked. So my bad. But I have been complaining that I don't like this car for a really long time. Not enough to give it a facelift, though. I didn't want this.
when we bought our car 2 years ago, I was trading in my Mazda, my little Mazda 3 for a RAV4, and we're like negotiating with the guy, and I give him a price for A for my trade in, and A and B for the actual car I want to buy, and like he writes numbers down on a piece of paper, a blank paper, nothing else on it but these numbers, and then draws a line and puts an X and says sign here. I was like, what am I signing for? Like, you're agreeing to pay this. I'm like, okay, that's not how contracts work. You can't just write a number with no context on it and have someone sign. And he would do this like when we go back and forth. He'd be like, write the numbers down, the updated numbers, and I would sign this X line. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? This is not how it works.
Yeah. With this car, like we had my son at the time who was like 9 months old with us, and it's getting late. This guy was like coming back with a number, and then he's like, "Okay, so the only thing that we took off is like the part that we are making profit." And I'm looking at the contract, and I was like, "Where's the part that we have oil changes for the 2 years?" And he's like, we only took off the part that has our profits. I'm like, "Okay, so where is the part that said we have oil changes and like the maintenance stuff for 2 years?" And that's what he took off. And so I'm like, "I'm out of here. I'm out of here." Like he's being slimy. It's time to go. And obviously we got that car because that's what I just wrecked. Like, don't lie to
Too
my
far
face.
in the deal. I hate that.
It was never too far. I did not drive off in the car yet. We are not too far. Like, I'm not going home to make this my problem. I'm here. This is your problem.
And like they always like try to sell you like the warranties. I remember the guy pitched to us. He was like, "Well, here's a warranty for like the windshield, and like the windshield has like all this technology in it." I'm like, "Okay, it looks like a regular windshield to me." And he's like, "What if it dies in like 2 years?" I'm like, "Are you telling me that your product sucks enough that it's gonna die in 2 years? Because like that seems like maybe we just walk."
Yeah. Are you telling me that the windshield's gonna close out? Like it's gonna turn black or something? Or are you gonna, is it just gonna fall off? Because I've had some windshield problems. It's not that expensive to fix. They even have people that come to your house now. It's amazing.
Right? I gotta get a chip fixed in my windshield now, but
It's amazingly affordable from what I remember, but I guess that was in Arizona, so we're talking 3, 4 years. The world's gotten much more expensive.
I think it's pretty cheap now still. But well, you've had a super exciting week, and that is, I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you didn't get hurt. Hopefully your car is not dead on arrival, and we'll get an update in the next episode or two. But
Yeah, I
ugh,
hope they do
always
not
fun.
label it as "do not resuscitate." I really want this car back. I don't even like this car, but I don't want to go car shopping. Send me that guy though off TikTok. No thanks.
Um,
No
so
thanks.
I did some research this week, and this is a topic we haven't really discussed yet. We've talked about the deep web, but we haven't talked about creepy, unsolved mysteries from the actual internet, like things that have gone online, that have happened over the course of the last 30 years since the internet got created, that no one knows what's behind or how it got there.
I'm ready.
So the the first one is the story of Jack Froese. Jack was the name of a 32-year-old man who lived in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. In June of 2011, he died unexpectedly of a heart arrhythmia. It is an unknown condition that it was an unknown condition that doctors didn't know he had, hence being unknown. Froese was a relatively healthy man, if a little overweight, and his sudden death caused an outpouring of grief among his family and friends. Time, of course, heals all wounds, and this was no different. Over the next few months, people started coming to terms with his death and settling down into the usual patterns of life. That is until multiple people began receiving emails from his now defunct email address. The first report was by his friend, Tim Hart. In November of 2011, so 5 months after he died, Hart was sitting on his couch, and to his utter shock, a new email popped up with the name Jack Froese. Upon reading it, it said, subject line, I'm watching. And the body was, did you hear me? I'm at your house. Clean your fucking attic. Terrified, Hart searched his entire house to see if someone may be playing a practical joke on him, but there was no one else around except him. Particularly eerie was the fact this message seemed referencing a private conversation he had with Froese just a few days before his death. Hart and Froese have been up in Hart's attic, and Froese joked about how messy it was. Of course, one man claiming he received an email from beyond the grave doesn't mean much. There are many explanations for it: timed emails, a prankster, scammer, whatever. But another email was sent a few days later to a different person, another one of Jack's friends, Jimmy McGraw. The subject line was, "Hey Jim," and the body was, "How you doing? I knew you were gonna break your ankle. I tried to warn you. Gotta be careful. Tell Rock for me. Great song, huh? You're welcome." Couldn't get through to him. His email didn't work. It is unclear what the last part of the email was referring to, but the chilling part of the message is that McGraw had just broken his ankle 2 weeks prior to receiving this email. In other words, almost 5 months after Froese was dead. And that was it. No other emails were sent. Froese's family and friends investigated to see if there was some kind of rational explanation, and ultimately they decided it was unknown, paranormal, a ghost. So how exactly did Froese manage to send emails from beyond the grave? Several theories have been proposed. A, the typical someone hacked his account, which is the most obvious, easy answer. However, that doesn't explain the particulars of those emails and the exact nature of them, the broken ankle and the dirty attic. How would a hacker know that? And then B, Hart and McGraw collaborated to prank everyone else. This is a possibility, but I mean, it would be pretty heartless and pretty shitty of them to do, considering that that guy's wife and his family lost their husband and father. So that's kind of like on the shitty end. Or C, Froese planned this out. It's not paranormal, but he sent these emails before he died, and somehow, some way, just by coincidence, like the attic one makes sense. I get that one, but like the broken ankle, like that's such a coincidence that he would email, 2 weeks after he broke his ankle about his ankle. And then obviously the last possibility is that Froese was truly emailing after he died.
Yeah, unlikely that he planned this email going out 5 months in advance of his death to predict his friend breaking his ankle. that sounds unlikely unless he broke his ankle just so he could be right. Which I don't know. I don't know Frozy, but I'm gonna say that he's not that type of guy. Um, I, I mean, I think that there could be something to the sending emails after his death. Like I've heard of like the stories where people say that their loved one called them. I know that before my grandma passed, this wasn't like a paranormal thing, but my voicemail was broken for 7 years. And somehow my grandma left me a random voicemail. She didn't even know it was a voicemail. She just was like coming up from San Diego, and she was on I-5 and was like, "We're at mile marker this. Now we're at mile marker this. Oh, oh." And then she realized she was on voicemail, and so she like clicked off. And I just remember being like, how did she do that? And for a little while, that was the only voicemail I had. And like, I didn't have any voice recordings of my grandma. It was pretty cool. Don't know how she broke that barrier, but I think that there's something
Uh,
to this like technology, especially with like the way that time and space is. Like, I don't know. I think that your loved ones could communicate with you that way. That sounds totally plausible to me.
yeah, and like I've read stories where like a person's buried with their cell phone, and that cell phone starts the family kept that line active for whatever reason, and um they've gotten calls, texts from that number, um, months, years afterwards. And the scary part is like with all of this new technology and like the voice, AI voice, like through this recording app, I was able to, if I want to, I can go in and like type a message out and it will play using a voice that is so similar to my voice. Like my mom and dad did not recognize it was me. It was not me. They thought it was me, and, like, there are slight variations in the tone that, like, you would tell it's not me, it's a computer, but, like, the scary part is, like, that is becoming more and more mainstream, so you'll get these, like, people dying and then someone calling them to scam their loved ones, not realizing they're dead, and then that loved one has to go answer a phone call from, their husband or wife or son or daughter that they lost, and it sounds just like them.
Wow. That Yeah, that's intense. I cannot imagine getting one of those phone calls. I mean, I've seen the pictures though where you like can turn a photo into a video, and it's hilarious what you can do. But yeah, AI is kind of scary in that sense. I remember listening to an episode of Planet Money, and they like had AI write the whole episode, and it was in their voices, and it was very interesting. There were parts that it definitely messed up, but you could tell. But this was also like 2 years ago. I can't imagine how far it's come. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah, between AI and my newfound sense of like time and space, I think that yes, plausible.
yeah, I think, like, and I've had this debate with my friends and family, like, about ghosts and, like, whether or not they're real. I don't know. If ghosts are not real, I certainly think that, like, you can if there's an afterlife, you can tap into this reality, and, like, do things like call someone, message them, email them, like, things you did when you were alive. And I think if it's not, like, necessarily the afterlife, but a different plane of existence, like, we don't know if there are several planes of existence in this realm, and, like, when you see ghosts or hear ghosts or whatever, they're, either accidentally or purposefully crossing dimensions of time or dimensions of reality into our plane of existence and just existing, which would explain why, like, you have all these ghosts at, you know, Civil War battlegrounds because, like, different plane of existence, they're reliving that experience and they're crossing over for a short time.
I heard this like pretty trippy thing off of TikTok where this girl was like, what if shadow people are just the shadows of 4D like of other dimensions, like 4D, because we're 3D and our shadows in 2D. And so they come off looking 3D. The only explanation is for them to be a shadow of a 4D, and that's why they don't interact. And I was like, I've been thinking about that a lot. I don't know what's to that, but I've been thinking about it a lot.
That is certainly possible. It could explain the Hat Man that you saw. It could explain
Exactly.
Hat Man that everyone sees. Apparently, Hat Man is a very popular, very well known guy.
Yeah, it's like the Hat Man, and then the other one I've heard a lot about is like the entity where their smiles are too big. I've heard a lot of
I
those
hate
ones.
I hate that. I hate that so much. Have you seen the movie Smile?
No, no, I
Okay,
haven't.
you get it.
But also, when you're telling that story, that's what's above my head. And I'm like,
Oh man, I thought you were
don't
gonna
like.
show it and it was like open.
No, there is a corner of it that's like slightly missing, but I think it's just the top layer. Don't like it. Don't like it.
If it happened open, I would have probably ended that episode like, all right, good luck.
I wasn't mocking anybody this time.
I've been like randomly hopping on like TikTok live and doing like a live every now and then last week or so. And last night there was a guy that came in the live, and I don't know if he's being serious. And if you're out there, his name was Caleb. Caleb, I don't know if you're being serious, but like I'm curious now. He said that he lives in Nebraska and he was sitting out smoking a cigarette. Also, Caleb, quit smoking. That's not good for you. But but he said he was sitting outside smoking, and he saw a shadow man in his field in front of his house. And I was like, "Well, get a video and send it to me, and I will put it on the podcast this week or next week." And I have not gotten anything yet. But Caleb, if you're out there and listening to this, I need the
Are you
video.
okay?
Like, I'm really do. Are you okay? Did you try to
Yeah.
record it and he come after you?
I don't know. Caleb debunked my theory. My theory I stole off TikTok, but yeah.
There's
Uh hopefully you're okay, Caleb. Please send us the video. We'd like to see the shadow hat man. Also terrifying. That would get me to quit smoking if I smoked.
yeah, no,
I
I I have not seen Hat Man. So every time someone talks about him on TikTok or on YouTube or I read a story about it, I'm like, damn, I really don't want to see Hat Man. But I've always like when I was a
Yeah.
kid, I was like terrified I would see a guy in a hat sitting on my couch in the living room when I went downstairs at like 3 in the morning.
So we all have a fear of the Hat Man without even ever seeing him, because I had that Hat Man walking his dog that my theory is it was my heartbeat, and like seeing him out in the front yard at night, and I was scared to look out there. But seeing that one version of a Hat Man at that haunted like mental hospital, that was whew, I never wanted to be out of somewhere so fast in my life and never wanted to go back. But now there's houses there. People live there.
I almost want to buy a drone and like fly it into some of these abandoned places and then record. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be in there myself, but my drone would be in there, and I can go through the halls and like be safe.
But they're supposed to like take the electricity and like use that as its power, like their power. So it would just boop, lost drone.
Yep, they can keep it then at that point. I
Yeah.
have like 5 minutes of footage. They can have the drone.
You're like, it was fully charged. I don't know what's going on.
It cost me $5,000, but they can have it.
I mean, I think drones you can get for pretty cheap these days. One of my coworkers brought a drone out and like had his phone on it and took a picture of everybody for work, like one big photo, because we have a lot of different offices and everybody was together. And I thought that was pretty impressive. If you're listening, Abe, hey. He asked the name of the podcast this last week.
If you're listening, can I borrow your drone? I just need it for a short period of time. I can't promise I'll get it back, but yeah.
But we want to go see some spooky stuff. I'm sure, I don't know, it's worth a shot. We'll ask Gabe. I have a secondary person. We'll ask my friend Richard. I have 2 people that I know that have drones, but I do think that you can get them for like fairly cheap off Amazon. Although, how do you debunk if that was the battery?
That's true. Yeah. I had a drone at one point and I uh was awful at flying it and I like flew it into a tree, like a really, really tall tree, like 30 feet up. So I had to sit there and like throw baseballs at it and like throw tennis balls at it until it fell down. It took me like 2 hours to get down, but fun times.
What happened to it?
I sold it. It was like a really cheap, tiny drone, so
Mhm.
it couldn't carry much weight, so it wouldn't be good for our conquest.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I feel like there's technology has come so far. It's so cheap. We can find ourselves a drone that will record stuff from a distance. It's got to find a pilot though.
And maybe if we get a drone and a pilot, we can have the pilot pick up things from the haunted asylum to bring to my house. You know, a la a painting that's in the hallway, or like I don't know, a used rag that was sitting on the floor. Could this used rag have like drugs on it? I don't know. We'll put it in a bag and put it in storage and see if I get haunted.
It's once upon a time used for chloroform.
What's that
Terrifying.
smell?
I think that it'd be gone by that point. Hopefully. It's currently used for chloroform. That's scarier.
It's
When we went to that
uh
mental hospital, we found stickers. We found a painting that had owls on it, and we found stickers that were like kid stickers. So they were kind of spooky. And my friend Chase tried to bring it into my friend Lauren's house, and Lauren was like, "Oh, no way, man." And he had to leave it in the bush outside her house. She's like, "No, will not accept." And she would take anything. There was one time we put a Christmas tree in her attic, like highly flammable, and she moved out and it was still there.
I could have used those stickers, Stephanie. Like what the fuck? You should have known. You should have known this is gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, I'm so sorry. I should have known 20 years ago to save the stickers. Do you know how much bad stuff could have happened to me that time because I kept those stickers? The Hat Man would be here with me right now. Thank you. We'll find more, or I'll get that one doll. Definitely not haunted.
The doll I'm very, very interested in because particularly it looks creepy. So I'm really interested in that doll if it's still there.
I just don't want to touch it. If they would ship it for me, I would go there and I'd buy it. You've already had it long enough. Like, send it for me, please. I have a
Right?
place it
Get
needs to
rid
go.
of it.
Just not to my house. I've already crashed my car this week. Don't need any more bad luck.
See, my plan is I am gonna move this recording into my office at some point, and behind me will be a wall of like creepy, spooky oddities that I found at yard sales or antique
I have a
stores.
I have a tiny voodoo doll. I don't know how creepy he is. I thought he was scary when I found him, but it was my sister's, and then she's like, "I really don't need this." I was like, "Oh, I'll keep him."
Okay, let me get this straight. You kept a voodoo doll. You actively took a voodoo doll.
It was in this room when I moved in.
You kept the voodoo doll in your room after you moved in, but you wouldn't pick up stickers.
I didn't touch the stickers. They were not. I was no part of this transaction. I just watched the thing go down. It was Chase and Lauren. Lauren said, "No way, man, not in my house." And Chase is like, "Come on." And she's like, "No." And so then he's like, "Fine," and left them in the bush outside. I don't even know what happened to them after that. He probably took them home. Chase is kind of weird like that. He also took the painting.
I would be Chase. I would take the painting and stickers, and I put the stickers on the painting. Double bad luck.
You know what? I'll call Chase. Chase, do you happen to have any of this stuff 20 years later? I know a guy. Please don't give
I
it
know.
to me. I don't want to touch it. But I
Chase
know
can
who you.
be in on Chase can be in on this. He can send it to me, and I will say I was haunted by it, and then we can find Zach Baggins and sell him the painting for $3 million, and we'll split the profit 3 ways.
Well,
Chase gets $1 million, you get $1 million, and I get $1 million.
wow, just for connecting you guys. I love this. We should destroy this evidence. You're outing all of
Cut
us.
it out.
Yeah.
Cut
just
it out of the podcast.
Don't need it. We have plenty of other material. We got this.
Okay, so that was that story. The next story I found is a little less, significantly less paranormal, and more just like really, really, really weird. It's called Captain Coochie's Key Lime Pie. This mystery is about thousands of strange reviews left on various websites about a restaurant called Coochie's Key West. Coochie's was an actual restaurant opened in 1978 in Asheville, North Carolina. One location, not two, one location, owned by Oswaldo Pillay and Anita Pillay. The strange posts praise the restaurant and talk about how great their key lime pie is. The reviews are very repetitive and odd and cover themes of sex, politics, and current affairs. But they all have one thing in common. They all mention Captain Coochie's key lime pie. A lot of the posts were done by a Jake Carson and tons of other random accounts, but the posts are all very similar. Now, this doesn't sound weird. It just sounds like a weird restaurant posting reviews and boosting their sales. However, the restaurant closed in 2006, and the reviews did not start until 2009. So from 2009 to roughly 2016, so 7 years or so, someone or something has been posting reviews for this restaurant that doesn't exist all over the internet. Cooking sites, social media pages like Facebook pages, unrelated to anything cooking, just regular everyday pages, tabloid articles, news articles. And these posts were made, like I said before, on a regular basis until 2016, where they decreased markedly. And it's believed they decreased because the subreddit, I think it's called KLP Investigation or something, was created in about 2016. And so people were actually looking into this weird shit going on and posting these comments and reviews and looking into it. And so because that happened, people believe that that's what triggered the decrease in activity. Now, there are a handful of posts that happened after 2016, but these are widely believed to be mostly just fake and like copycats and not the actual original person doing it. The original person uses a variety of pseudonyms, but Jake Carson, Willie Jordan, and Roger Ramjet are the most common ones. The first Jimmy Buffett comment read, "These cheeseburgers are better than sex. Where, I tell you, Coochie's West Bar and Grill, Asheville, North Carolina." And that was left on a very like random cooking blog. On its surface, it looks like a typical bot post that you would see in any comment section on YouTube or whatever. You see all those random bots arguing with each other and posting like how to get a bigger penis or something on there. However, this has been going on for almost 10 years and just gets weirder and weirder. Another thing to note is that the first few months of posting, the comments would exclusively be made onto food-related blogs or food review sites. He would often use names of celebrities like Jimmy Buffett, Jake Carson, Christy Brinkley, Willie Jordan, and Roger Ramjet. Honestly, I don't know any of those besides Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the last names are what it is. But Roger Ramjet is actually a cartoon from the 60s who had an episode where he hid messages involving spies in his pies. So that's a little weird. So someone spent several years posting strange messages over the internet, and the poster effusively praises the key lime pies and the restaurant's goody goody cheeseburgers served at Coochie's Key West Cafe, claiming they are the best in the world and that celebrities from all over America visit Coochie's just to taste their key lime pie. Now, looking at the post dates of his comments, the behavior doesn't seem automated. He never posts more than 10 messages in a single day, and the number of posts per day or number of days between posts varies. So he might go 3 days and then post 10 comments, and then like a week and post 10 comments. So like not the same amount of comments per week per day. So there's a little bit of variety there. And one of the comments that was posted 4 years after the first one reads, it's from Jan Marie, December 4th, 2013. It doesn't get any better than seeing the gorgeous Ms. Anita Pillay over at her and her husband, Captain Coochie's place. Some folks also call him the Cooch Man. Others call him the Cooch Mon. Most just call him the most interesting man in the world. Anita and Coochie's Pele's Key West Key Lime Pie Factory and Grill. There's a different name there. Just watching the lovely couple baking together all those yummy key lime pies at their key lime pie factory and grill in Nashville. It's always worth the trip to visit them in their historic key lime pie factory and grill. It should be on everyone's bucket list for sure. And the world's best key lime pies. Yum, yum, yum. Talk about world class. What an understatement. Ah, the magic of the lovely Ms. Anita Pillay and her delicious key lime pies baked with pure love. Always. 40 years and still they're going strong. And like that, like none of that made any sense. And I was just like reading word for word what this person wrote, and it makes no sense.
And what were the years that they were open? Were they open 40 years?
78 to 2006, so almost 30 years.
But I guess that they were still going 10 years later, so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know, like the connections between the hidden messages of spies and pies from that. What? What?
Yeah, it's quite strange. Now, so more than 700 Captain Coochie's key lime pie posts have been cataloged so far, and the real number of posts undoubtedly higher, as many have been deleted or are not accessible to search engines. And by the way, if you search up on Google Captain Coochie's key lime pie, you can like filter through and see like the weird shit people are posting or this person was posting.
Well, at this rate, with it being a story now, I'm like, yeah, how many of those are copycats at this point?
It's just so weird. Like,
was anybody else thrown off by the Key West part and then it being in a Carolina?
Yeah, Captain Coochie's Key West, and I think they actually had so the restaurant actually had key lime pie and these goody burgers, but like, I mean, someone's like going around and talking about them like they're the best things in the world, which is really weird.
And that they're still around, like just like people want good reviews like this, and these people got it tenfold after closing. Do we know why they closed?
Only just that they just decided not to have a restaurant anymore. And the owner got older, so I'm assuming I think right now he's in his 90s as of like a few years ago. So if he's still alive, he was in his 90s as of like I think 2020 when the article was written.
Mhm.
But like he's
COVID times.
COVID. Yeah, he closed up. He probably in his 70s was like, fuck this, I'm too old for this shit. And I'm sure his son didn't want to continue it.
I mean, that's fair. I just had to know what kind of secrets does he know? Like, is somebody trolling him? I know what you did, Captain Coochie. These awesome key lime pies, and he's like, shh, shh, shh.
um,
And was that his wife's name?
yeah, that was his wife's name. And from what I read, um, the restaurant name or no, the Captain Coochie is from a book. I don't think the guy referred to himself as Captain Coochie, the actual person. Um, but that that is from a book that was written in the 60s. So like it is reference to a thing that was in fiction years ago, but this random bot has apparently taken it into reality and like blown it up into.
Have you ever been to a place that like resembles what you picture this place being in your head? Because I have. I could tell you it's the strangest experience I've ever had in my life. I think they're
What are
still
you
open though.
what are you picturing it looks like?
Okay, so there's this place in Southern California. It's called Captain Kino's. And it is this restaurant that has like the best deals on everything, the worst service ever, and it's just the most bizarre place. You walk in there, they have like giant tables, and it's so dark. Everybody who works there just ignores you. It's just how it is. I went in there and had, I want to say that they had steak that was like less than $10, and then they had crab legs. You get like a full meal for it. And it was, super cheap steak and crab legs, whatever. And then I want to say they did like a shrimp cocktail or something. But then they'd have this table that they would just set random desserts on. And you could just go and grab whatever random desserts. I don't even know if you had to pay for it. I think it was just free. One time they had a full blown wedding cake. Like, but I did wonder, how is this place in business? And I feel like there's something else going on there. And they were always talking about like we're about to shut down, we're shutting down. And honestly, I think they're still going. So I feel like Captain Coochie's at Captain Places, they're just a different realm. Like that I will never understand. So people writing about how delicious their key lime pie, like do they have mentioned how bad the service is? I want do they
Like
have a table with random desserts? You just go take one?
yeah, you would think after like 10 years they'd be like, they're not responding to me. I'm gonna fucking just shame them. Like, fuck you, key lime pie. Your key lime pie tastes like shit. I actually was lying all this time. It tastes like ass, okay? And your goody goody burgers, they're very much not goody goody. They suck too, and they're always raw.
I feel like I there's a place that I buy toys from for work like once a year, and these are not inappropriate type toys. They're like literally children's toys. Just have to throw that out there. But
For work?
yes, for work.
Oh
They're
my god.
they're squirrel poppers. But anyways, um, it says permanently closed on their Facebook, and it does not stop me. I have emailed them. I've looked at the patent for this stuff, like just in case we can make them ourselves because our CEO loves these things. I'm trying everything, everything. So maybe this person's like, please bring back the key lime pie, or give me the recipe so I can make it because it's so full of love. It
Like,
just
I'm not gonna lie. I've been to a restaurant where they had like the best food and they closed up shop and like I miss them so much. But like I feel I would never comment for 10 years.
Yeah.
Please open it back up. I'll pay for it.
I mean, I guess there was a restaurant that had really, really good desserts and Hungarian food that I used to go to a lot, and they reopened, but it was like right before COVID, and so during COVID, I think they struggled, and it was a family style restaurant, and like the older grandparents passed or we're not doing so hot anymore, and they've come out with cookbooks now, and they actually sell their recipes. And I thought that was so cool, like bring back the maple pork medallions.
I've always wanted to try Hungarian food. I've had Ethiopian food. Uh I've had like Lebanese food. I've never had Hungarian food.
So good. It was just like ultimate comfort food. And it just like the family that was there, it was just like the presence too. So I don't even know if the cookbook, if I could do it justice, but I'm willing to try. I'll practice.
Just set the bar down here. That way, if it turns out crappy, you're not like, oh man, this sucks. But like, all right, I tried, gave my best.
Yeah, I gave it my all. I know their desserts, like you go in there, I would get like four different desserts every time I was there just to like, okay, gotta take these home. I'll try them throughout the week. So good. Their pumpkin cheesecake, so good.
I don't understand the hate that pumpkin gets. I used to hate pumpkin, so I kind of get the hate. But like, I am now all for pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice lattes. Give me that shit every single day. Pumpkin me up. Just like take a pumpkin and shove it on my face, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, like I guess I understand some people don't do it right. Like one time I ordered pumpkin something, it was coffee flavored, and when I finished drinking it, it had like this much pureed pumpkin at the bottom. And I was like, I don't know what happened here, but I am never going there again. I am just not sure. But yeah, no, I'm all about the pumpkin. I can't hate. I embrace all the seasons a little bit too much sometimes. I've been so ready for fall, and then we had rain for like 2 days, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of sad now. And then the sun came back, and I was like, oh. So I guess I'm just never happy.
Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
man, I am so ready for fall. Okay, but all right. So wrapping up this story. um, let me get back to where I was here. So more than 700 of these key lime pie posts and reviews have been cataloged so far, and they believe the actual total is a lot higher. Um, for example, the poster had a Discus account with over 1,400 messages, but all of those posts have since been deleted by either the website or the person. So at least there's 1,400 missing posts. And keep in mind, separate from this person or bot or whatever it is has an account for every single one of these websites they go to and post on. And a lot of these sites, like you have to pass the captcha. That makes me feel like a robot every single time. But you have to pass that to get an account and then put a password and shit in. And so this bot or person has like thousands and thousands of accounts they've just created over the course of 10 years, almost 10 years, and just to comment on all these random things. Um, so yeah, there are some theories about what the hell this is. Spam bot is the first one. Um, an obsessive person who really loved their restaurant and wants them to come back is another one.
Somebody
um,
who really loved the name.
they're like, fuck the key lime pie. The name is the greatest thing. Um, or this is a little bit interesting, but a little weird. The posts were made to cover up bad publicity about the restaurant or the family. The family was involved in a small land dispute in the 70s. So, like, it seems unlikely somebody would commit that much time to clogging up search engines for something that happened 30 years ago. Um, and the last theory is that the posts are coded communication. The pseudonym Roger Ramjet obviously references that character from the Boomer generation who hid messages in pies. But coochie is Jamaican slang for a weed pipe. So, was that restaurant involved in drug trafficking? It is located near the Biltmore Estate in North Carolina, which has been the subject of various conspiracies. And last note, unrelated to this weirdness, the family owns an abandoned mansion in Asheville, North Carolina, that has sat run down in a state of disarray, and they haven't done anything with it. They just own this mansion in Asheville, North Carolina.
Is that what was the land dispute?
Maybe.
Or
I don't
like,
think there's any records for that far back, but yeah, that's
well, yeah, they covered it up. If you
you
believe.
can't find it.
I don't even know what to think of all of that. Like, I don't think they covered it up. I think that's silly. I think that the whole drug trafficking thing, if it's a restaurant, like what restaurant wasn't some sort of drug trafficking cover up? If it's not legal there, it probably was trafficking some drugs. Just go ask any cook, basically. If they don't sell it, they can point you in the right direction. But yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I want to know more about this mansion. I'm really stuck on that. They're vampires.
They could be. Like,
And this was to gain traction, but not on them. It's to gain traction and all of the focus being on Captain Coochies. Because you can't associate Captain Coochies with this old man. He doesn't even call himself that.
yeah, like maybe some vampire hunters figured out that Captain Coochie, or they thought that it was a vampire ring, and they closed up shop and then spammed the search engines with all these posts and successfully evaded Van Helsing.
I mean, what is going on with this whole? I just, yeah, I'm just picturing like this dilapidated castle out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. I can't get over that. I can't. What's going on there? I want to know more.
I think when I read the article I read, the guy who owned it, the old man, he said that he was going to make some money in 2020 and like rebuild the mansion, but has since not done anything with it. So
Yeah, he's too old for that.
okay, so I will wrap up our podcast with a very short weird story.
Can't
It's the website 973-EHT-NAMUH-973.com. It's a strange site with no clear purpose or meaning. When you visit the site, and it's still up, you are greeted with an eerie message that reads, "Welcome to the Cave of the Ancients." The site is filled with strange symbols, cryptic messages, and bizarre images that leave visitors scratching their heads. Some people believe the site relates to ancient civilizations and is the key to unlocking secret knowledge. Others believe the website contains hidden messages about philosophy, mathematics, linguistics, science, alchemy, history, and so on. And of course, critics think it's just a hoax or an elaborate prank designed to confuse and bewilder people. And just so we have it, I have the website up.
Okay.
I am
Is
going
it
to.
as it sounds?
So this is how it looks when you open the site. And there's only one place you can click on, and then it brings you to this weird twirling gears, and then you click each one. So I click this one, it brings you up to this post 99973. I am that I am. I that am that 9. That am that I. Blessed be the name that be blessed. And then sun. I'm gonna butcher that. And then a bunch of random shit. And it just goes on and on and on. Like the most random crap ever.
What?
Yeah. And like you can keep going deeper and deeper, and then you change and then you get to this. And then you can click like really anywhere and move on. But and like weird, like what the fuck is this?
What is that?
It looks like
It's
Clayton right here.
no way, Jose. That is not what's haunting me.
Clayton and Clayton's buddy, Colton. And then you got looks like
Is it
Teresa right here.
is it the same every time you log in? Like as you go through, or is it different?
That's an excellent question. I think it's the same. So if I go back to the main page, I think I chose this one. And then I chose this. Yeah, it's the same each time.
Okay. What?
But like, yeah. Many lives, Arjuna, you and I have lived. I remember them all, but thou dost not. When and that's a
Yeah.
quote by a guy. But yeah, that is the craziest thing. Like that is so wild that someone either if it's not like if it's an actual person just doing this shit randomly, they put a lot of effort into this, like to keep it up all these years.
Yeah. I mean, I've been paying for a website for a really long time. I don't think it does anything now. I've owned Blah Blah Unicorn since at least 10 years. My best friend's daughter was like, I'm gonna write stories. And I was like, okay. And I bought her a website. And I just renew it every year. It's like $12 a year. Never did anything with it.
Now what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a someone's gonna make a Reddit thread of like someone purchased this blahblahunicorn.com and like it's been sitting for 10 years now. Like who's doing this? And then like random person starts commenting reviews on different sites. Blah blah unicorn has the best unicorns ever. They're really pointy horns.
Blah Blah Unicorn is a secret blog. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't know. I tried to figure out how to do something with it a long time ago, and especially when I was in business school, I just never did anything. And obviously, neither did Adrian. So, womp womp.
Womp womp.
But I still pay $12 a year for it just in case one day I want to do that. Can be our website.
There you blahblahunicorn.com. Visit us there. Leave your comments and reviews. You know what? Audience, I'm going to task our audience with going onto random websites and commenting between state lines has yummy, yummy good burgers. Like, I want you to create thousands of accounts and comment our name all over the place.
Oh, that enraged me. It enraged me when you said that it had individual accounts for all of these websites. Like, I hate finding the password for what I did on the ones that I use. Oh, like the seething I felt. Yeah. No. I can't. That's ridiculous. I can no.
I feel
Something
like
you just hope it's a bot at that point.
though someone launched and released AI onto Facebook, like their AI software to create Facebook accounts, and these accounts have created weird ass like AI images that like just looked whack as hell, and like created actual full profiles for themselves, like with jobs and like place they lived. Like they add friends, and they have pictures of themselves, and no one has the password of these accounts because this AI software created its own password, its own email address, and like runs their own account, and no one has the information for it. So like there are thousands of AI Facebook accounts that AI is running, and that like I might be arguing with someone on Facebook, and like it's an AI person.
You know, I've wondered that before, especially with how many people go on there to argue with other people. But also I've had like an influx of random people asking to be my friend on Facebook lately. And it makes me weary because they all have like mutual friends with me, but I'm like, who are you? I don't know who you are. That's weird to me. Where did you come from? Do these friends that are friended to you actually know who you are, or is this AI and they're just like, let's send 1 to 4 friend requests every single day. We'll get her. One of these people she has to recognize from middle school. We'll get her.
Oh, that's my fear. Is like someone takes my like picture from high school and like creates accounts with it and starts adding random people. Like, oh, who the fuck is this person?
Well, see, I don't have any of those pictures because they were on MySpace back in the day, and
Oh
then
God,
MySpace
MySpace.
deleted all of them. I wish I still
I,
had that, or like my Tumblr. Was it no with Photo Bucket? Photo Bucket back in the day.
I miss MySpace though. I do. I miss it so much.
Well, yeah, I really liked it. It made me really sad that I couldn't log back in, and then all of the photos, even when I found my profile, they're like gone. I think the most recent ones that might still be there, I was like 19. They didn't have any of my ones from when I was like 15 and newly on MySpace.
My MySpace username was the longest time was Darth Stupid from like Star Wars. Like
Love it.
that was a weird kid. Yeah.
I think mine was my original AOL was Steph Go Girl. And I think that my TikTok?
That's your TikTok, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, it's also my Pokemon name. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really original.
That's
Like my mom made that up for me when I was probably like 8, 9. Yeah. Just kept it going. Even though AOL's long gone. Yeah. Kept Steph Girl.
keeping it alive and well.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening and sticking in with us. Before we go, I think I want to say something that's I can speak both for Stephanie and I. I feel like September is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. And we just want you to know if you're having a hard time, you're going through something, that you are loved, people care about you. And if you need help, my DMs are open. You know, our DMs are open. Reach out to us. I'll help you any way I can. I'll listen to you, get you help. But also don't forget to call 1-800-273-TALK because there are so many people in your life that will miss you and really want you to stick around. So,
Absolutely.
well, thanks guys, and we'll see you next week.
See ya. Bye.